From dating to relationships, from sex to love, from Christianity to politics, from darkness to light, you have now entered into the real zone. Welcome to Conversations with Trent, where no topic of conversation is safe from discussion. Now, here he is, Mr. Epic himself, Trent Williams.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a special edition of the Conversation with Trent podcast. Got a special guest coming through. Received a call via text, rather. There's a text. Somebody wanted to actually debunk the episode that I did with the ladies on Sunday. So we'll be setting the record straight, debunking the love. I'm sorry. Debunking the Lazy Lovebirds episode from last Sunday. So I'm going to play a couple of videos to give you guys some context on what we're going to be speaking on. Waiting for my guests to come in, so we'll run a couple of commercials. You guys stay tuned.
Thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Trent. We will be right back with more conversation after these commercial breaks.
Somebody gon' get to tell them that I'm coming. And you can tell them that I'm coming. Tell them that I'm coming. Somebody tell the world that I'm coming. I'm trying to tell the world that I'm coming. Tell them that I'm coming. Somebody tell the world that I'm coming. Somebody tell the world that I'm coming.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
After divorce and after the passing, untimely passing of my father. So that's how I became a writer. And, here I am.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
What up? What up? Can you hear me? We'll be right back. We'll be right back, folks.
Check out the creative work of the author Trent Williams of www.taylorkennedymedia.com. Chapter of the Delta gives us a peek at his life-changing events. And if that's not enough, Trent tells you more about his brothers and his life through memoirs in his book, The Four Horsemen. His blogs and daily stimulating quotes are published in his book, Life's Little Addiction. And when you have a need of some human coaching of life and relationships, take a look at Conversations with Trent, Volume 1 and 2, and Conversations with Trent, Limited Edition. You will find his works available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and all online book retailers.
God, don't give up on me yet. I know I'm not your best bet, but I'm trying. Don't give up on me yet. I'm trying. Don't leave me here alone.
All right, folks. All right, folks. We finally got all the jokers out of the deck. Finally got those jokers out of the deck. What's going on, Slash? Still can't hear you, Slash. What's going on with you? Still can't hear you, brother. What's going on, Slash? Still can't hear you, brother. One more time, you gotta check that mic. I can't hear you. Can't hear you, bro. Be right back, folks.
So I do have to disagree on that. Women didn't write the rules to this.
Well, D said, listen, D just said men wrote the rules and now they're not happy with the rules. That what I'm saying, that I don't even think so. Let's scratch that whole who wrote the rules.
Hold on a second. Let's scratch that for a second. Let's get back to the sponsorship. Let's talk about reciprocation. Let's talk about this. Let's really talk about low ethics. Let's really talk about that. Y'all cannot tell me that there are not a ton of women online that talk like they're privileged. Like, what places them in a place? Hold on a second. What places women in a place like that to be privileged? What have you proven to me to get all this money that you're asking for? What have you proven? What have you proven? Well, I gotta go to this. I gotta go to this 5-star restaurant. What have you proven? What have you actually? We talking about $500-$600. Come on, for real.
Comments based on the topic that was at hand tonight. So I want to, if you're okay, I want to go ahead and wrap those up so that we can, if you don't mind, so we can close out the show. All right. So Mark talked about old man's strength goes further than the bedroom. Old players still checking traps continuously because they work it out, and he's that first call as the handyman and fixing flats in all areas. And he said, "Ayo, Mr. Epic, I heard when you pay for it, you pay for it. Mr. Earl, keep a knot and don't mind spreading Christmas cheer around. You want to go on that trip or nah?" And Keena said, "Ain't nobody worried about Mr. Earl. We let him come over and drop that money off and feed him, kiss him, and let him see our toes. He's good." And Mark also said, "Mr. Earl hip to all the games and tricks. He's paying for sugar, not equal. So you got to go up in that bedroom to get that stimmy. He don't want his food on the paper. He don't want his food on the paper plate."
All right, folks. This is actually going to cost me. This is going to cost me in two ways. Let me bring the good brother in, and I'll tell you guys how it's going to cost me in two ways. Not only on the monetizing side, where I'm sharing ad money with the songs that I choose to use. They're gonna eat all that up. I ran so many commercials on here, and I'm gonna pay for it twice, 3 times over from the ladies. I know they're gonna be talking about it. Hold on one second. Let's bring the brother in.
So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can't hear you that well now. Yeah, I can't hear you. You kind of choppy now, but you can hear me,
Yeah,
right?
address your volume. Address your volume because I'm getting the feedback from the studio over here. Because you're
Is it
connected to the studio.
is it how is it? Is it high? Is it low?
It's kind of high.
All right, brought it down a couple of notches.
Okay, cool. So you shouldn't be getting that feedback now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, I wasn't getting feedback. It was just I couldn't really hear you.
Yeah,
What's
no,
going on, man? Come on,
I
man.
can't,
We in this thing, man.
I
Happy New
can't
Year's
call it.
Eve, man.
I can't call it my spoiler. Can't call it my spoiler, man. Can't call
Yes,
it
sir.
my spoiler. What's up with you, man? So, the opening was kind of debacle, but let's give them some context on why we're here and why we're doing this on a special night.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had conversation about the previous podcast with the
Right.
ladies talking about the lazy lovebirds,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and Miss Low Effort. So you had some
Right.
things you want to share with them, and I got jotted some things. I went back and looked at the entire podcast, and it's quite interesting. Let's just say the
Okay.
ladies were in rare form on the latter part of the show. So good stuff, man. Good stuff, good stuff. Really appreciate you guys being patient with us, but this is not a regular night for me as far as with the podcast, and so I didn't tweak, anything today. So kind of was
Mm-hmm.
lazy. I'm still in my pajamas. So but we're gonna get this thing on and popping. But we'll give you guys some content. Then we'll actually start on with the debunking of Sunday's podcast. We'll start off with
Okay.
Mr. Earl and explain to the folks who is Mr. Earl and what part does he play in the sponsorship role. 1 second.
Comments based on the topic that was at hand tonight. So I want to, if you're okay, I want to go ahead and wrap those up so that we can, if you don't mind, so we can close out the show. All right. So Mark talked about old man's strength goes further than the bedroom. Old players still checking traps continuously because they work it out, and he's that first call as the handyman and fixing flats in all areas. And he said, "Ayo, Mr. Epic, I heard when you pay for it, you pay for it. Mr. Earl, keep a knot and don't mind spreading Christmas cheer around. You want to go on that trip or nah?" And Keena said, "Ain't nobody worried about Mr. Earl. We let him come over and drop that money off and feed him, kiss him, and let him see our toes. He's good." And Mark also said, "Mr. Earl hip to all the games and tricks. He's paying for sugar, not equal. So you got to go up in that bedroom to get that stimmy. He don't want his food on the paper. He don't want his food on the paper plate."
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. So let's give them context on Sunday's podcast. When we started, you brought up the word. We actually gave the word to the sponsorship, the guy who's
Right.
doing sponsorships,
Right.
Mr. Earl. So, what's your thought process on that part of the show when you actually said that?
Well,
comment?
yeah, it definitely originated, or the origins are, some of those old players that was out there
Right.
doing their things in that date and time, but at the same time, it's still going on currently because I can speak from like experience. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to try to use Splenda, Stevia, or any of that, man.
Right.
I know a cat I used to work with, man. Dude kept 3 G's in his pocket,
Right.
and
I see
you
it
know,
out.
it was a cat that see around lunch, man. Say, but a young woman was flocking around him, and when I say young, I mean younger than him.
Right.
So
How
he
old was
kept him.
he? What was his age?
Said, "Oh, this cat had to be in his 50s, bro. 56, 57, something like that." But dog, it's no different because I'm a DJ, dog. So I've seen these plays, like I
Right.
put down in text, dog. One of my exes, bro. Her mom's was she was a side piece, dog,
Hmm.
for a cat that was married, bro.
Right.
I know ladies that I worked with in 2 offices, dog. I had another woman that I worked with, dog. Her mortgage was paid by a dude, her car note was paid by a dude. Then I go down a little bit further down the hall. This chick was riding around in a Benz, man, and not like she couldn't get it, but she
Right,
gave me
right.
the game as to how she got it. So it's not nothing new, dog. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, dog. Some people or some men, dog, they just rather let me just, let me just break them off, and I get it how I get it, and I
Right.
don't have to deal with these relationships or whatnot. So it is a thing that's happened. It's something that's currently happened. Let's not try to sugarcoat it. It is what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And actually, I was excited about having this conversation with you because when I brought up sponsorship, I really
Hmm.
didn't get a solid answer from the ladies. Like they
No,
really they talked around the word sponsorship. And I said that
right.
on purpose because I was having a conversation and actually where I got that word from sponsorship, I was speaking with a friend of mine who happens to
Hmm.
be a female
Okay.
who said during the conversation as I was prepping for Sunday's show, and she was like, "Let me ask you something. You think do they want a sponsorship or do they want a leader?"
Well, it's different. Everybody's not, there's no absolutes. Some people looking for a sponsor. Some people saw they moms and aunts that had sponsors.
Right.
Because you always had them old cats and the cutlasses and the electric 225, them deuces and the quarters and them Cadillacs back in the day.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's who was pulling up at the high schools and at the dances and all this and all that. So it's always been somewhat part of the culture. So I
Absolutely.
just don't know. Wait, certain words, I think it kind of sparks people because it might be something knocking on the door of some past episodes of some of the
Right.
people that was on the panel, dog. That's what
And
it is.
to be fair, I mean, I do, as you know, and they know, like when I search certain things, I say certain things, and I write, a certain way. It's
Hmm.
trigger points, and I want to get a reaction. I want to get a response. I really want to get an authentic response, whether
Yeah.
it's positive or negative, because that's going to tell me where you're coming from. You see what I'm saying? But
How many
let's
how many shows you think you've done since you came back this time?
it's been
So we might have to put a number on the shows, but I get what you're trying to do, but good luck with that because it doesn't often work because there's
good,
this long word called accountability,
right?
and some people just don't subscribe to that. That's a book that they've never checked out in the library, or I think Big Boy says in the game of life, dog.
Uh-huh.
Some people
I,
just don't ascribe to that.
I get
And
it. I
it,
get it. I get it.
but the thing is, in a question I always like to ask, do you know somebody that's rocking like that? And 9 times out of 10, whenever I ask that question on the topic, the ladies will say, yes, I know somebody like that. But they'll fight tooth and nail
Yeah,
to try to belittle the point as if it's just something you're making up. It's just something you know about. It's just something I know about.
right. They
Yeah.
definitely they definitely go for their team. They definitely go for their team. So
Yeah.
let me fill the audience in. Give them some context on what we
Hmm.
just spoke on. So
Okay.
so it won't be said by the ladies. I know I'm going to get some calls on this. Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't share the whole clip. So that's why I brought clips along. So
Hmm.
1 second, ladies, or viewers, we'll get
Okay.
this other part of the show as well. So 1 second, we'll be right back.
All right.
So I do have to disagree on that. Women didn't write the rules to this.
Well,
Yeah,
D said, listen, D just said men wrote the rules and now they're not happy with the rules. That what I'm saying that I don't even think so. Let's scratch that whole who wrote
Yeah,
the
okay.
rules.
hold on a second. Let's
Scratch
scratch
that
that for a
whole
second.
rule.
Let's get back to the sponsorship. Let's talk about reciprocation. Let's talk
Uh-huh.
about this. Let's really talk about low ethic. Let's really talk about that. Y'all cannot tell me that there are not a ton of women online that talk like they're privileged. Like what places them in a place
But
to be hold on a second.
go ahead.
What places women in a place like that to be privileged? What have you proven to me to get all this money that you're asking for? What have you proven? What have you proven? Well, I gotta go to this. I gotta go to this 5-star restaurant. What have you proven? What have you actually? We talking about $500-$600. Come on, for real. Okay, on that section of the show, I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted an answer from them. I really wanted to get an understanding, a clear understanding of why do women feel privileged and they expect, not
Mm-hmm.
even the first date, not even on the first date. This
Right.
is on approaching them.
Right.
They
Right.
expect certain things, like the
Some.
privilege, like this is what it's
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Right.
I didn't get a
Well,
clear
well,
answer.
sort of putting a price tag on it or putting a certain expectation on it.
Exactly.
And it's just become this popular thing on social media, which social media is just it's not a real thing, but you have a lot of people that still draw their line in the sand. They try to stand 10 toes down on it because I mean we still talking about the 3 date rule
Right.
after all these years, right?
Right.
And now you have certain women talking about they need to have their nails done, need to get their hair done, you need a massage and all this and all that prior to going on a date.
Exactly. So my
Obviously,
whole point, go ahead. I'm sorry.
obviously, Mr. Earl has set this precedence because other than that, like I don't know, dog. I mean, I'm
So
cool
wait,
with
so you blame Mr. Earl? That's what you blame?
nah. I'm not blaming Mr. Earl. I'm saying obviously somebody has set this precedence. You don't just come up with this on your own, right?
I totally agree. But I think that's a legitimate question though. Why do women feel privileged? Why they expect that to happen? Like to me, honestly, like I was speaking with my brother earlier,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like when they come with these demands, these monetary demands and all this stuff, this is what I need in order for me to date you. This is what I need from you.
Right.
To me, that's to me, it sounds like soft, not only soft porn, but let's call it what it is, prostitution.
Well, that's a
Let,
thing
let's
that's prevalent. It's
let's
prevalent,
call it what it
and
is. Yeah, let's just call
uh,
it what it is. So my
uh,
brother was like, he said, "You really feel like that?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah," because
well,
that's and the first time a man say, "Hey man, that
mm,
sounds like prostitution to me," you know,
mhm.
oh, you're saying that you offended me and rubbed me the wrong way, but why are you coming at me like that? And I don't even know you like
Right, because it's transactional. Because if it's money for a certain, for a date or whatever it is, even if you talk about the $40 thing, that's pretty prevalent on social media.
that.
It's
Right.
transactional, and then that's somebody whose love is transactional. I mean, even look at the young brother that just won the Heisman. He had
Right.
to shut his IG off because everything is coming out the woodwork, dog.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, it just is what it is. But the flip side of that coin is, you have some women that's out there that sugar mamas, but you won't hear that because, as I always say, though, there's different rules and there's different standards for both men and women. And a lot of times, women hide behind their particular standards or whatnot of what they can do, and then they shame men for it. And then it's the opposite way that men shame women for certain things. But as we get older and we're grown, man, we have to be able to accept what's real and what's fake.
Exactly. And I honestly don't think that they believe that they're shaming men when they do these things. I don't believe they believe it. I really don't believe they believe it. I don't.
Because the sting has been taken out of it for so long, whether it was from grandmother to mother to aunties or whatnot, or older sisters or whatnot. It's
Right.
just being that, sisters have been some of the most disrespected women, and we haven't had their backs 100%. That, like I said, if you're taking shots at us, trying to cut us off at the knees, you think it's just fair play. And it's not really like that. Like I said, once you're grown, whatever your age or your learning of or your knowledge of, when you're grown, you know that that's not something that's helpful towards people. It's toxic.
Right. And to be honest, after going back and because as you know, I go back, I cut tape like the same day that
Hmm.
this aired. So I
Yeah.
watched this, 3 times prepping for this conversation with you. And so
Hmm.
I got to thinking, man, it's like it's always a tug of war, especially in the African American community, with between male and female. When
No,
it's real
not
simple.
just no. It's not just us. It's a man woman thing, regardless. There's always this tug of war between men and women.
but you see it more publicly with us.
Yeah, because that's the lane certain people chose to drive down, so to speak,
Right,
to live up to those particular stereotypes.
right,
Father not at home, father was Rolling Stone, yada yada, this and that. But when you really look at it, and you look at even the so-called entertainers or politicians, whatever, a lot of people present day come from two-parent back parents and whatnot. As far as their background.
right, right,
So those days are really some days that's not really even something that you're looking at nowadays. It was that way, but things have changed. Just like men with parents, and some men weren't even there when their kids was born because it was working,
right. And
and
another
it
thing that
wasn't.
stuck out, not to
Hmm.
cut you off, another thing that stuck out in the podcast from Sunday,
Hmm.
Ursula said that, and she was speaking with her and Dee was going back and forth, so they kind of
Hmm.
disagreed on a certain topic,
Hmm.
and she said that women need to allow men just to be a man. That was coming from Urs.
But that was giving grace, but at the same time, historically, men have led. Also, in Africa, women have led. But if you don't know that, just in different places. I mean, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Sheba. If you go back to history, history will inform you of what it was and possibly what it can be. So just to write that off as certain people wrote laws, they wrote laws for their people, being
Right,
that we were only what 3/5 of human beings. So you weren't writing it for us. And if you go back to the woman suffrage, back in that day, Marcus Garvey was one of the first men to kind of tie that to his particular struggle.
right, right,
We're talking the early 1900s.
right.
So
I get
even
that,
though,
but I get that. I get that. I really get that.
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
all fairness, when she was talking about that, when she was telling D, women should allow a man to be a man, and it was in context of when I was talking about women and they're not
hmm,
asking for all these things
right,
at the same breath, they want to allow him to be the man. So which is it?
yeah. But
Like
if you
you want to be
if
the
you
provider, you wanted to be which is it? Go
well,
ahead.
if you won't cut him off at the knees, but the thing is, it was some talk of men can't lead, men aren't good leaders. Well,
Right,
if you look back at history, history would tell you the complete opposite of that. But you've also had the Margaret Thatchers and whatnot. So it's not just one way. There is no absolutes. But just to sit up here and say, as they say, that a man can't lead. We know
right.
that that's not. It's
Yeah,
not
that's not
truthful.
fair.
It's not coming from a truthful place. Yeah,
It's not fair.
maybe not in your particular household, but you would have to show me the numbers. You can't just say stuff based upon how you feel because it's facts over
Right.
feelings.
Exactly. 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 So in my opinion, I jotted down a whole bunch of stuff here uh,
Hmm.
for this show. In my opinion, these days in this climate,
Hmm.
women don't act right unless the phones are directly going to them. Again,
So, so.
women, some women don't act right until all the funds are directly going in that direction.
Hmm.
And I'm
So.
speaking from experience. I've seen this. I've
Hmm.
been around women that do that. I've been
Right.
with women that do that. You see what I'm
Perhaps,
saying?
yeah. Perhaps that was their mentality.
Man,
But that's a learned behavior though. You don't just come up with that all of a sudden,
exactly,
right?
exactly. But I would say to the ladies, I would say to them, if that's what it's about, if that's what it's about, directing all the funds in your direction,
Hmm.
right, you might wind up with a puff. You
What
might
they say,
you
your
might wind up
money.
with go
What
ahead.
you might wind up with what?
You might wind up with a puff. If you're in it for the money, you want all the funds directed in your direction. You might
Yes,
run you know what I mean when I say puff. So
yeah, it's
y-
it's a long line of a man taking care of your every need and all your whims and whatnot. But what are you trading away for that?
exactly.
Because
That's
it's
the
because
point.
it's transactional.
That's the point.
But
That's the
then when you look at the divorce rates, there's certain behaviors and patterns that led to that particular going off the road or going off the tracks type of situation.
Right.
You know, the his money is my money and my money is my money type stuff situation.
Right. I get it.
And it's if that's how you living, that you know that's on you. You're the example, not the particular rule.
I'm glad you brought that up, right? Another thing I jotted down, reciprocate. And
Hmm.
I love the word reciprocate. I write about it all the time. And
Reciprocity. Hmm.
I notice when anytime I talk about reciprocation within the context of the shows that we do, or just from a
Hmm.
blog I'm writing,
Okay.
they'll run across that, or they'll skip on it, they'll skip over that. But in order to, it's a give and take situation, whether it be in, romantic relationships, business
Hmm.
relationships, friendships, family ship, all that stuff is reciprocate, give and take. It's a give and take situation. You know what I'm saying? You give,
Also
you
known,
receive, you give. Go ahead.
also in business known as quid pro quo. You get something for giving something, but like I said, well, if you just wanted to be this Disney princess thing, as to where somebody have to pull up on a white steed, go up in the castle and kiss her because she ate an apple, and
Right.
they ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after. That means sort of that man is the one that did all the work for them to live happily ever after.
Happily ever after. Exactly.
So you talk about, it was talked about by Dr. Bryant, aka I call it Dr. Thirst Trap. Um, this high maintenance or this high value versus
Yeah,
low effort.
yeah.
You give what you put into it.
That's it.
Some men give a lot of effort but don't get that back. Some women give a lot of effort and don't get that back. It's not one way.
Here's the problem for me with the scale of reciprocation, with that scale, right? When that
Hmm.
scale tip in the direction, of not favorable for the man, that's a
Hmm.
problem. That is a problem. It's going to be a problem. Going to continue to be a problem. So, at that point, when you see that scale tipping, that means you're being taken for granted at
Right.
some point. And I believe this is my personal opinion. When you
Hmm.
give, constantly give, at some
Hmm.
point you will be taken for granted.
Right.
It's just my
Exactly.
opinion from my experiences.
Right. Because I mean, you can give everything because, like this so-called giving 100%,
Right.
or even this 50-50 thing. If you're not really giving 100% in a relationship, and there's gonna be peaks and valleys, there's gonna be ebbs and flows. But if that's what you really choose to do, then that's what you really choose to do. If you don't, communication is 90% nonverbal. So your actions are really speaking for exactly how you feel and or how you treat that particular person.
Exactly. And from the clip I played earlier, when I
Hmm.
said, "What have you proven?" It's speaking to the women. What have you proven to this man that you deserve these things, right? I give
Hmm.
an example. I give an example. I'm speaking to the listening audience here. I give you an example.
All
When
right.
when I fall, when I fall, and I cannot pilot my plane anymore,
Hmm.
can you co-pilot? That's proven. If you can co-pilot,
Hmm.
that's proven. That's proven that you will do that.
Right.
You'll make sure that you'll co-pilot until I'm able to actually pilot that plane again.
Hmm.
That's what I meant by what have you proved? What have you proven in the
Okay.
relationship? And what do you have? What you're doing? Because I got a lot of flack for that. Talking about proven. What you mean proven? Can you
Because
co-pilot when my
hmm
plane goes down? I'm not asking you to pilot the plane.
right.
Co-pilot until I get better.
Well, isn't or you maybe have to file that under listening to understand rather than listening to respond,
Exactly.
because sometimes you get those particular shots back and you haven't even fired shots.
Right. Actually, I was speaking to a panel of ladies. It was early in the week, I believe, and a couple of questions was coming at me. We were on a conference call,
Okay.
and one of them asked me about that, right? And I gave them the co-pilot spill,
Acknowledging. Okay.
They got quiet. They got quiet, but they admitted. They said, "Okay, we get it." They were quiet. So one of them said, "I think I need some grandma." Yeah, after that response. So, but
See?
it was authentic and it was honest. Like, what can you co-pilot? That's simple, man. Men are simple, man. Men are really simple men. We're
Yep.
simple. We're simple beings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't take
All I'm
much.
asking for, is a co-pilot,
Mhm.
just in case you need to pull that lever.
So that brings about a question of
Go ahead.
when when in relationships, women always want the man to drive. Not only do you have to open doors,
Right,
but they
right.
all, I'm just saying, just thinking back, and if you think back, they always suggest, no, you drive. So I think they call that a passenger princess. I believe they call that.
I've never heard the term, but I get it though. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
it's there. It's
Yeah.
definitely there. So even the co-piloting thing, it's this thing of women are, supposedly more educated. Sisters are more educated and they make more money. But now
Some
they have so-called more demands. And historically, it's been
right.
about what is it called? High, what is it? Higamy,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because great grandfather had a job
Right,
and he
right,
took great grandmother away from 13 different kids, but she
right.
knew how to cook, clean, sew, and take care of a house. So
So
instead of, getting married at what, 13, 14, 15 years old,
right, right, right.
so it wasn't just a thing of that grandfather had her under his thumb, like Mister in The Color Purple.
Right, right,
And
right.
and I always hear that particular response, but no, I mean, this was a chance to, to be in charge of a household or whatnot, to
Right.
have some room to move, and you wasn't worrying about it taking care of eight or seven or 12 other siblings.
Exactly.
But
I
that
see
was
these
something.
brothers. I see these brothers over here. Brothers,
Mhm.
I truly apologize. I think that's Cortez in there, and I see that's Al. I see Al Sal Cortez. I see you, brother. Good
That's
stuff,
that.
man.
Wait, that's my
Actually,
boy Cortez.
yeah, yeah, he's here. He's here right here. Let
All
me pull him.
right. So what's up, Ron? What's happening?
There he is. There he is.
He
And
pro- he
that's outside.
probably he probably out there listening with his wife, man. So
Good
I mean,
stuff.
it is what it is, though.
Yeah, I
And like I
truly
say,
apologize, folks, for the comments. Normally, Shannon's reading the comments, and we're
I'm
you know,
on
that's what kind of used to.
I'm on YouTube. I don't see any comments. Let
Oh, they
me.
coming through Facebook. They coming through Facebook.
Oh, they coming from Facebook. All right.
Yeah,
Let
I'm putting them on screen for you.
me see if I can find them. All right, my man Cortez say, "What up, homie? What's good with it, man? Definitely got to get that brother salute. Solid brother, man. He kin to some of them Creightons from our neighborhood. I don't know, in Derrick and them, man.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah,
All right,
solid brother, man.
all right. I see Cortez on Facebook. He's in the group. He's on my page. He's always supporting. I really
Yeah, I put
appreciate
it.
you, brother.
Yeah, I invited him to the group, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
real cool brother, man. Down to earth brother, bro. We worked together way back in the day, man. We still
good
jam,
stuff.
man. I got to get up that body, brother, man. Check him out, man.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Real good stuff. Good stuff.
But like
So
you said, man, we're simple, man. But we want peace, man. But
that's
it,
it.
it, it's difficult because, like the saying goes, man, a man will sacrifice for his family, but a woman will sacrifice her family for happiness, though.
You said a mouthful.
And that's it's crazy, though.
That's true, man. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. But I think, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion,
Hmm.
that we lack communication, man, between the sexes. Like for me, and I've been down that same path where I refused to communicate because I wanted what I wanted, and that was that. And
Hmm.
I was totally wrong on my part to even walk into the relationship like that or try and demand what I'm not willing to give. So I've been on that side of the spectrum
Hmm.
where
Okay.
I'm very low effort because I felt like if I'm throwing this money at you, you shouldn't have nothing to say.
Because that's how we was raised, though. That
Yeah,
that was a man. A man took care. That's
pretty
just what it was.
but honestly though, it wasn't right You know, I'm saying that for
It,
as far
it,
as
it,
for me, as far as for me,
mhm.
I'm giving you low effort. I'm giving you.
Well,
It wasn't. It
in
wasn't.
that day, but you have to think about it. In that day, that was A plus. If you took care of home, you kept it, you kept the lights on, you kept the
Yeah,
water
it was
running.
A plus, but it was toxic at the same time. In my opinion, it was
Not in
toxic for
that
me.
day.
Not in
Yeah.
that day, but it was toxic for me. Once I reached a higher level of myself, and I looked at myself, took that
Hmm.
mirror and turned it in with him. Like, man, that wasn't right.
Yeah,
I'm
but
doing all this
time.
low. I'm giving you all this low effort stuff, and I'm not. I'm doing a low effort. I'm doing a low effort, even with the money. So I guess once you get past a certain length in your life, as far as
Mhm.
for me, the money really wasn't nothing. It wasn't worth anything.
But that's how you was raised. So that would be like you saying you was raised the wrong way. Now you just tried to carry it forward.
I'm
But
just
you
saying.
had to do the work to understand. And like
Exactly.
I said, we had to do the work to understand that that wasn't
Exactly.
enough. But
Exactly. But
the
all I'm saying is that's
mm,
a toxic trait. I
it
find it to
was.
be a toxic
But
trait.
if you don't self correct, if you don't self educate, then you'll be stuck in the same thing because you still have
Absolutely.
some men that still go by those principles because that's how they was raised. And that's
Absolutely.
accepting of the woman. But if you bring that to the conversation and say, look, I'm gonna cover A, B, C, and D, and she's like, well, that's cool.
Right.
That's what I need. But then somewhere down the line, if she changes up without a conversation,
Hmm.
that's different.
Yeah. I agree. I can agree with that. I can agree with that. But I think honestly, like I said, it goes back to what I was just saying about communication. When you're
Hmm.
walking into these relationships, man, and I say this, I've been saying this for years on top of years, wherever I've
Hmm.
spoken.
Okay.
I've said this for years and years. If you don't go to the table and be completely naked with your partner, it's going
Hmm.
it's going to go out the door at some point. If you're not completely honest and say, "Hey, this is what it is.
Hmm.
This is what I expect. This is what I expect myself. This is what I expect from you."
Hmm.
Relationship at some point could go out the window.
Yeah, if you don't relate on the same level.
Exactly. And I was also told on the panel with my co-host, she was like, "Well, you can't be vulnerable like that." What you mean? If you're going into relate, if you are my person,
Hmm. Hmm.
if you are my person, I should be able to be vulnerable with you. I should be able to be very open with you.
No, no, but you have to respect what that person said because obviously that might be a toxic trait from them, their thinking, because there's also the thing of when we do get naked and we put all the cards on the table and
Right.
then some point in time you use it against that person.
That's
So
true too.
why wouldn't you want to be upfront? Because you know, game knows game or game recognize game.
Absolutely.
There's different types of pillow talk.
Absolutely. Totally get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. Totally get it. What else
And
you
like,
wanted to add to that, bro? What else? 'Cause I had a couple of things to jot down. What else you want to add to this?
well, I also saw that someone had posted that there's this delusional damsel syndrome of where they just think it's one way, and you going into it with this privilege, with this I deserve, you owe me. I only go on dates to Ruth Crisp. Yeah, I'm not
Unproven.
going. Yeah,
Unproven.
right.
Unproven. Yeah.
I'm not going to Applebee's or I'm not going to Chili's or Outback. None of that. I'm not doing it. We going to the top of the top because that's just how I am, so to speak.
I give an example. This is when I moved from Michigan to Houston, right? So
Hmm.
after a while, right after the separation, I wasn't even divorced yet. After the
Right.
separation, I'm still in Houston hanging out. I stayed in
Hmm.
Houston about 5 years.
Okay.
And yeah, I started getting around, meeting some women and all this other stuff. So there's a place over there called Capitol Grill, right
Hmm.
in the Westheimer area, right? In the
All
Westheimer
right.
area. So I got to talk. She was like, "What we're going to eat?"
Hmm.
Now, I met her at J. Alexander's, which is a regular restaurant, J. Alexander's.
Yeah, but that was your spot, I believe, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's the spot. That's the spot.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, it's about a 4.5 star.
Mhm.
I said about a 4.5, 4.
Yeah, but that's still fine dining, man.
Yeah. And then I told her, I said, well, she said, we're gonna go to Jail Jazz. I'm like, nah. She said, where we going? I said, Capitol Grill. And
Mhm.
I mentioned, and I did that on purpose. I
Right.
said, what you gonna get from the a la carte?
Mhm.
And she said, what you mean? I said, a la carte, you don't know what the a la carte is? And I was being funny with her, but I was being
Right.
serious at the same time.
Just trying to see,
You know,
right?
just trying to see where she at with it. But
Mhm.
she before, we was hanging out at J. Alexander, she's talking all that big girl stuff. But
Mhm.
first mention of a la carte, she didn't even know what I was talking about.
Right.
And that was my point. My point, I said that to say
Mhm.
it's not proven.
Right.
What have you proven that you need to eat at Ruth's Chris? You
Right.
need to eat at Morton's. What have you
Mhm.
proven? What is I don't get it. I don't get that at all.
See, that's the thing. It's just certain people just want things one particular way, and they're trying to weed out, I guess, somebody, in these dates or whatnot. Just like you got these people that have certain dudes, and they fall under food guy,
Exactly. Exactly.
and it's not really proof because if you did the same thing, that's when it's when you start having that table talk, what you bring to the table type talk, and then there's no answers or rebuttals to that, then that just lets now I gotta bring my big girl pants or whatever in the conversation.
Exactly. I mean, the entire time we used to hang out at J. Alexander, oh, she big girl, she big girl.
Hmm.
We go to a Capitol Grill, totally different situation. Totally
Yeah.
different. Like, and I said that to say, man, like you can't go through life, man, because I've been there and I've done that as well, man. Living a
Hmm.
superficial life.
Right.
Living that superficial life. That's just not where it's at.
Well,
Once we
I
move
think.
past certain things, you
Hmm.
know, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it comes a certain age where you have that pretty privilege that you have to have some type of you got to have some substance about yourself.
Yeah, I
When
agree.
you're just surface level with your feet in the end of the three feet of the pool,
Right.
where everybody else is hanging out. So I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I just don't speak in absolute. This isn't all, and it's just where it is. Where some people are looking for a sponsor. I don't care what level they're on. They could be making $100,000. Some people still looking for a sponsor.
Exactly. And which is cool, man. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with it if that's what you're doing, but communicate that. You know what I'm saying? Don't try to be shady with it. Communicate it. Because I know some guys that will sponsor.
Right. But you know the saying, though, you can tell if men told women exactly what was on their mind, they'll never go for it. There's a
Go
that
ahead.
has to be in the singular digits. If you told a woman, hey, look, we're gonna do J. Alexander's,
Right, right,
maybe once a month, and we just have it every third Thursday or something like that. We
right.
hit the spot, dance a couple of songs, then we take it back, for the nightcap.
Exactly.
That's in the
I
single
give
digits.
exactly. I'll give you another example of not so single digits, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
dating this girl one time, and I hadn't seen this woman in years. We reconnected and whatnot, and it was cool. Conversation was cool, but as time progressed and I got to know her all over again,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to deal with this. So I
Right.
started sending her lunch, right?
Okay.
So I was just doing hey, sending them lunch to her office and whatnot, and
Mm-hmm.
without her even knowing or saying anything, I just sent it.
Okay.
So she got to a point where she wanted it every single day.
Day. Every day. Mm-hmm.
Every day, and I'm talking about Copeland's. I'm talking about stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
that type of stuff. So I'm
Yep.
like, so I'm like, so I asked her. I said, "Hey," I said, "You think that's cool?" She said, "What
Mm-hmm.
you mean?" I said, "Every day,
Every day.
because you don't have a microwave in your office. I'm more than sure somebody in that building has a microwave.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your lunch to work, but
Right.
every day." So the turn in that situation went drastically. went left drastically. You see what I'm saying? Because she didn't get what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't getting what she wanted. Because I
Right.
thought that was a bit excessive. That was over the top.
It was excessive.
Lunch every single day. We talking
Even
about
if,
$20, $30 plates every single day.
right. But then that's the
It's
thing.
over the top.
You know what they say? See a fool, use a fool. That's when you get to that point to where, like I said, if you expect that every day, yeah, that's some other stuff, though.
Exactly. That's the whole point. And I said that I said I want to bring back Mr. Earl in with your name that you get this guy, Mr. Earl. That's what we get the Mr. Earls, man. Mr. Earl, if Mr. Earl doing that, Mr. Earl gonna want some things. It's just like Slash said on a previous podcast. He don't want the equal. He want the raw
Right.
sugar.
You want sugar, though. And
He want that raw sugar.
like you
So you got
said,
to be mindful, man. And this is for the ladies. You have to be very mindful when you asking for those funds to be directed in your direction.
mhm. So
There's
let me
a lot
ask
of
a
stuff that's
question.
coming behind that.
Yeah, let me ask a question. Now you send
Go ahead.
lunch.
Go
How
ahead.
many times did you get lunch? I mean, not saying you have to count it up, but was it reciprocated? Or as my girl, Miss Lauren Hill said, was it reciprocity?
She cooked me a meal. It didn't come from a restaurant.
That's not the same. You
Exactly.
already you already know if you invite somebody to the
Exactly.
house to cook for them and they expect them to go out to J. Alexander, oh,
Exactly.
that's a whole different
That's
vibe,
a
though.
whole different situation. So, and a lot of people say, "Oh, you be that's market trend. That's being a bit cheeky." No, it's not. That's
Mhm.
not the same thing. That is not the same thing. I want to
Right,
feel special too. Every man wants to feel special too. You want to feel special? Reciprocate it.
right. At least, yeah, you just want it back, as in, like you
That's
said,
it.
you want a co-pilot. You want to know somebody can fly the plane just in case, you bump your head on something or whatever.
That's it. That's
But
it, man.
yeah,
It's not hard, man. I wrote a quote early in the week.
hmm
Life is simple. We as humans, we make it hard.
yeah,
We make everything difficult when it's very simple.
right.
Very simple. You know what I'm saying?
But
Simple
very
conversation.
rarely you
Go
meet a woman that has those low expectations. The
You're right.
majority of the majority of women that I've spoken to, read about, seeing or whatever, they
Right.
always expecting the moon in the sky.
Right.
Very seldomly. Matter of fact, I seen one, and it was a friend of a friend,
Hmm.
and she's low maintenance, though. But very very seldomly do you see that.
Right.
But
So we're gonna get out of here in a minute, but I want to touch on something else that Shannon asked both
okay,
you and myself about
cool.
about being single, right? So I
Hmm.
opened it up by telling her that she asked me, was I comfortable being single? And I told her that I'm a tad bit selfish, and to me, my selfishness is a very healthy trait.
Hmm.
When I say healthy trait, that's because my selfishness
Hmm.
harnesses my peace,
But
harnesses
that's
my
how.
peaceful space, my happiness, and everything.
Hmm. But
That's what
that's
my
how
self
you evaluate it. That's how you see it. By
Yeah,
saying you're selfish does not mean you're selfish in a bad way.
exactly. That's what I was telling her. It's not a bad thing because I choose that for that not to be in my vortex. I choose for that not to come nowhere near my vortex. You know what I'm saying?
Wait,
So I'm
wait.
comfortable. I'm comfortable
Hmm.
in my space. I'm
Right.
comfortable with being single. I really don't need, nor at this time want a girlfriend or a woman
Well,
because
you
at this
know,
time it complicates
mhm.
things. You know the journey I'm on. I don't
You
need no
know,
complications.
a man can't have standards, though. You know this, right? When a man has standards, women have problems.
You know what I found though, man? When they say when a man has standards, they call
Hmm.
it arrogance.
Yeah.
They call it, you're besides yourself. They
Right.
call it, you're not humble enough. Nah,
Yeah.
that's not it. That's not it at all.
You're being uppity, huh? Or
Exactly.
he thinks he's all that. Like if we go out and we want a certain drink, we want Grand Marnier or something like that, or some top shelf
Exactly.
tequila or something like that. Yeah, well, he's real particular. He likes what he likes.
That's it. That's it. And that's the one thing that Shannon and I agreed about that night. I said, well, at least I'm honest. She was like, yeah, you're right. You're
Mhm.
definitely honest about it. I'm honest about that, man. This is what, hey, listen, we're not trying to date because that's not where I'm at. Because if you can't come in and co-pilot with me throughout this recovery,
Mhm.
as everybody saw, I'm doing well with that. I could do that on my own. I'm
Well,
doing well with
you have some other people snitching, talking about how your phone going off, man. I said, don't let me find out, Mr. Epic out here being a whole snack out here.
nah, I'm a whole snag, man, even in this condition. But I
Mhm.
mean, the phone gonna ring, but it doesn't mean I have to
Sure.
answer it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, just because your day card with your dance card is full, bro. Certain people shouldn't hate on that, man. Maybe they need to just try to get a dance.
So you think she was hating when she said that?
Of
Because I was
course she
surprised when
did.
she actually, I was surprised when she spoke on it publicly.
Of course she was hating because possibly she want to be on that dance card, man.
Oh
So
no,
so now you done spoke about these lunches and whatnot, man. You know what's gonna be next, right?
right, 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 right.
So, yeah, I don't know, man. We might have to get this dating game thing going on,
Yeah,
but
Shannon keep pushing for that. She keep pushing for it.
off top though, my French doors, man, they stay closed, man. It's not up for public consumption.
Right, right. Hold on,
Right?
we're live. Look, I gotta answer this. This is my sister. One sec. Let's
Okay.
see. Hey, podcasting right now. You're live on the air, so watch what you say.
Huh?
Yeah, you're live on the air. I have to answer the phone podcast.
Oh, I'm on my way over to bring you your lightning pies.
Okay, you got the keys? You got your key?
Yeah.
All right, just open the door and just come on in.
All right, bye.
Y'all did tell him he had his own pies, right?
Yes, you have a whole pie and he has 4 mini pies.
So I got the whole pie. So okay.
All right.
All right.
So I hope the viewership and the panel sees, with how you get down, you get a whole pie. You know what I'm saying?
That's my sister. That's Brandy.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
She still bringing.
I wanted to clarify because she said Sandy made pie for Lightning as well, and
Okay.
he's a cookie monster. So I
Oh
needed
yeah.
to clarify that his is his and mine is mine.
hmm I get it. No,
You
no,
know,
shouldn't be no Christmas swinging, huh?
there it is. At all, not at all, not at all.
Yeah, that's wild.
Nah, but it's
But
all good.
still, yeah, this myth of high value and low effort.
Right.
Nobody gave anything that really gave anything concrete as to really even just speak on it and stay on a particular topic. Well, really just speak on the topic.
Right.
Because, like I said, both men and women do the same thing.
And honestly, and they know I've said it to them privately, and I think I said it on air on Sunday's
Mhm,
podcast. They were a little upset that I wrote it up like I wrote it up because actually at the tail end of the
mhm.
show when we decided to do Mr. Low Effort,
Right.
I thought about it after I did the cut the tape. I was like, nah, we're not gonna do that. Everybody gonna get the issue. So
Mhm.
you know, I wanted everybody to take responsibility for their lack of effort in a
Right.
situation. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows women, there's a whole bunch of low effort women, as well as there's a whole bunch of low effort men. So that's all my point. My point was we're not
Mhm,
gonna pounce on the men. We're not gonna do that because we're always doing that. And I'm always the only one here, defending men with my
mhm.
boy here and in the comment section defending.
Right.
He does a solid job of doing that, but it'd be a lot, man, when they talk and then it's just heavily, all that going. I'm
Yeah,
like, come on, man.
they're trying to cut you under the knees, dog. I get
Yeah,
it. It's just you could say one thing. You can say it's low effort, but then at the same time, has that particular thing been something that's been reciprocated?
exactly. The one
So if you,
positive thing I could say when the ladies are cutting me at the knees, when they've mentioned the chapter of the books and all those books almost every other podcast. That was the surge, there was research in that. And I tell them that all the time. I really appreciate that because if they wasn't talking about it, nobody wouldn't be interested in it because they make it a whole thing. So that's why I let them go with that. They talk about it, and mostly particular Shannon in particular. She's always talking about it. I just let her go with it because I know what the results are going to be. So, but that's when they cut me at the knees with that. I have no problem.
And man, I'm starting to think she didn't took the book apart, man, and put those chapters on the wall or something. You know, like they do the
She knows
whiteboard.
back to back. She knows,
Yeah,
she
when
knows
they do the
front cover
whiteboard,
to
man.
cover.
So yeah, I'm watching that Alex Cross, so I'm kind of seeing
Yeah.
some different things. And put the light bulb over my head.
Yeah, she definitely know that book from cover to cover.
Right.
Definitely know.
So, I mean, so I'm gonna give, I give people grace to change, man. You can't go by what a person was 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
You have to give them grace.
Exactly.
And some
As
people
I
want
stated,
to,
as I'm always stating, I take personal responsibility for all that toxic I brought. So, and I've
right,
written about it. I talk about it. I've been
mhm,
on thousands of stages talking about that all across the
right,
country and abroad. So
right,
I've talked about it. So but
but somebody was trying to put you on behind the back and put you on the apology tour, man.
exactly, I thought that
And
was
and,
funny, man.
and
I thought that was quite
and,
interesting.
and, and she was talking about letting off on Coach Prince dive. She got in the way, dog. She tried to be a shield. So,
You saw that? You saw that? I saw that, man.
yeah, man. So the peanut gallery, man, you got to be careful, man. You might have to start wearing a vest, man.
Yeah, man. Got to, man. Got to. We're gonna cut this one short because they had actually they went over about 30 minutes Sunday. So did you see
Mhm.
them in rare form on the latter part of the show?
Yeah, I thought they was drinking a little eggnog or something, man. But
They
Urs
were
was
doing something.
yeah, Urs was she started laughing them. So then they were trying to like catch up to Urs. So that's what it
Yeah,
was, man. But the show shouldn't always be 30 minutes. The show should it might start maybe 6:45 because people when it's good, man, you don't always try to end it at the same time, or either do the part two,
it was cool. The only reason I wanted to not go to 30 minutes because
Mhm,
as you know, Instagram's gonna cut it. They're gonna cut it. Actually, they didn't even give me the podcast.
mhm,
So I had to take the footage from my
mhm.
platform. They
Right.
didn't even they didn't even they stopped airing it period and cut it off. And
Yeah,
when they cut it off,
yeah,
they
I don't
played
really like how they kind of rock because
yeah, they
sometimes
play
you
games.
lose
They,
signal and I don't really like how they rock. I prefer YouTube or if you're gonna do Twitch or something else where you can just get it exclusively. Um,
exactly.
however long you do it.
Right. And the reason why I could actually present all these podcasts to these folks, it's on the
Hmm.
Taylor Kennedy Media platform. So
Right.
it's on Apple, Spotify,
Hmm.
Taylor Kennedy TV, all that good stuff. But man, Instagram got some stuff with them. They something else. I went back to find
Yeah.
that video in the archives. It was gone.
Mhm. That's what I'm saying. I don't. For some of my partners, they do a show, and it's like if you miss it, you pretty much miss it. But some kind of
Exactly.
way they kind of produce this replay, but it's
Yeah, they
weird.
do. They reproduce it. That's what they do. They reproduce it. What they doing, honestly, what they doing is they checking for target words. They checking for the words that goes
Mhm.
against their community rules.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? And
Just
which
to
is
try to
cool.
demonetize.
Exactly. That's all it
Yeah.
is. That's all
Which
it
is,
is. So
yeah, I just don't like how they get down because if Facebook and IG are their parent companies or whatnot, why is it so different with IG?
exactly.
Which is weird,
Right.
man. You know,
Exactly. But hey
Abby,
man, I like this, man. We had a good one. I want to do this again, man.
so
Well, we could actually
I showed up because the women weren't here, but they wanted me to be on the show with them to maybe try to get their ratings up. And
you
I said,
already know.
well, well, nah, I'm not gonna do it with them. I'd rather do it with my homeboy.
Exactly. Now
So now,
they're gonna give me a hard time for me stumbling around in the studio here trying to get the audio straight on my end. They're gonna give
So
me a hard time.
so even with your condition though, you gonna let them give you a hard time?
Hey, man. It's good for rating when they do that. So it's
Hey,
all
man.
good. I got tough skin. It's all good. It's all good. But I will say
Mm-hmm.
there was no problem with the audio. Once I got the audio straight on this end, there was no feedback on said previous shot podcast. So I'm just saying.
Right. Well, I had the mic,
Yeah,
headphones, and everything hooked up. It's just it didn't come across
it didn't come across
from
right.
my iPad. Yeah.
But I try to explain, like, see how simple when I was texting and give you that
Mm-hmm.
information.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
was
try to
already
do
in.
with the ladies. I try to do with the
Mm-hmm.
ladies. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
listen, everything is feeding into the studio here. So if your
Mm-hmm.
mics are loud or hot, I'm
Right.
gonna get the feedback and it's gonna go
Mm-hmm.
out through to the audience. So you know,
Yeah. Well, I got
that's all.
the different setups to either go through my one of my Macs or my iPad or my phone. So we're
Right,
gonna
right.
make it happen regardless, because that's what I was doing. I was
Absolutely.
trying to get it in to maybe get a test prior to the
Exactly.
show coming through.
Right,
So
right, right.
you ain't never got to worry about me calling in early, dog. We
I
can make
already
that
know.
happen. But happy holidays to you, man. Happy Christmas Eve, man. Don't overdo it with that pie with you and Kobe, man.
No, not at all, bro. I'm just gonna do
Right
one
there.
slice tonight with some almond milk, man.
That's what's up, man. I'm,
That's
I'm
all.
I'm about to make some coquito in here pretty soon, man.
That's what I'm talking about. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So I'm gonna get here and get Kobe out and get him a walk.
All
And
right, no
man,
doubt.
it's always chopping, and we'll see definitely on the next show. So I know that, right? And then
No doubt, dog.
we'll do another one after that because they're gonna give us content, so we can actually rebuttal that one as well. So
Yeah, well, we just refer to him as the peanut gallery. It's all good.
that is. All right, my
All
brother.
right, my brother.
All right.
No doubt.
Appreciate you guys for being patient. Appreciate you guys for always tuning in. Appreciate you guys for always supporting, right? Supporting Taylor Kennedy Media Platform. Really appreciate that you guys can follow Conversation with Trent and Friends on Apple, Spotify, all major platforms, YouTube, all that good stuff. Taylor Kennedy TV is the spot. So good stuff. Really appreciate that. Happy holidays to you guys and happy new year. You'll see me along with the ladies back after the new year with a new topic, a new everything. So good stuff, man. So there's no resolutions on this end. We're doing the same thing going into the new year, mashing the gas as we always do. So good stuff. All right, guys, you take care. Talk soon.
Conversations with Trent in conjunction with Taylor Kennedy Media and your radio network would like to thank you for calling in and listening to tonight's episode. We hope that tonight's conversation offended you just enough to turn your mirror inward to come back for more. So until next week's conversation, be epic.